Hello there. I hope you can see me. I'm so sorry about the technical issues. What a pain in the bottom. You know, the best laid plans. You can be as organized and as ready as you want. But yeah, technical issues. Here we are. Oh no, hang on. And now we have to go live on Instagram, on Instagram again. I just need to know that we're going live. This is the wonderful thing about technical things. Right, let's do this. Hit stream key. Hopefully that should work. Stream key. How wonderful. How wonderful. If you can see me, let me know. And hopefully we should be live. I'm ready to go. I don't mind if we're not completely on, but you really should be on most platforms by now. Right, let's see. Can you see me? Anybody? Please let me know where you're watching from. Hopefully you should be able to see me, I really hope. Right, let's go. See if we can oh my goodness, what a pain in the bottom. Well, it looks like there's 3 of you. Hi, right, Gemma. Thank you very much. Gemma's watching from Facebook, so Facebook is working. TikTok is working. I'm live on TikTok. Right. At least we have Facebook and TikTok. Hopefully, no, Instagram's not working. Right, we might have to just go ahead with Facebook and TikTok for this evening. I hope that's okay. Oh, what a pain in the bum. Right, are we ready to do some Linocut printing today? I have really loved this month. It's a really lovely craft to learn. It's very simple, but I am going to push you a little bit. And I am going to get you doing a little bit of drawing, but it's going to be very guided. Don't get scared because we're going to do it together and it's all going to be fine. I might keep kicking that light. Right, do you have your boxes? Are you ready? Let me just double check Instagram again. Doesn't seem to be working. I don't know why it worked before, but right, we're going to have to just go with it. So this is what we're going to be making today. We're going to start with a very simple flower design, and then we're going to go on to do a lovely seascape. So if you want to open your boxes, I don't know if any of you have opened them already, but we're going to do a little unboxing. You have your lovely card. It says the date of the live. Okay, so what we have in here is a Linocut kit. I'll go through that in a minute. We also have some tracing paper. We have our lovely textured paper for our actual prints. And we've got some extra. So we've got some extra lino. So basically what we're going to do today is take you through the different levels of lino cutting, and it is up to you to decide how far through you want to do this, okay? So what I'm going to do is show you how to do the lino cutting so that you can be doing your own afterwards. And the great thing about lino cutting is that once you've done your lino, you can wash it off and you can print it again and again and again. And it's really, really lovely because once you've got that, this is why people can do limited edition prints. So once you've got your lino cut, you can then print them again and again. And I've already had people saying they want to do this for cards, for like a printed image that they want to frame. So it's a really, really lovely craft to do. So if you want to open your essentials kit, we have your lino ink. This is all water-based, so it does wash off, okay? I'm gonna put it, can you see that? You've got a pencil as well in your kit. You have some lino, you have a roller, and you have this lovely thing. And you do have some instructions, but we're not going to need them because I'm going to go through all of it myself. Right. We are going to start with a small, actually this is bigger than this one. I think they are random sizes. So what we're going to do, when I made that one, I had a smaller bit of lino. We are going to start with the smallest piece of lino today, okay? It doesn't really matter what side you cut on. There is a shinier side and there is a more textured side. It's completely up to you. They will probably at the level that we're doing, it won't make much difference, but I'm quite enjoying, and I'll show you why later, cutting on the shiny side, okay? So if you get this cutting board, this is also a lino cutting board, but we're not going to use this till later. And actually this is the advanced stage. So, but for now, we're going to use this as a cutting board. So if you put this down first, get your lino that we're going to cut. And what we're going to do is just draw out the design that we're going to print first. So I'm going to go through it with you. Don't be scared. I'm going to go through all the shapes, okay? So what you need to remember with lino cutting is everything that you cut out is going to be white. Everything that you leave is going to be black. So if we rolled ink onto this block now and put paper on it, it would be just a black cutout, okay? If anything we carve on this is going to be white. So what we're doing is we're cutting out the shapes that we want to be in white. We're effectively cutting out the negative space. And with the two designs that we're doing, we're going to almost do the opposite for both of them. Okay, so we're going to use the difference in light and shade, and we're going to use that to our advantage. So first we're going to do flowers. I would like you to get your pencil, and there are a few ways of doing this. I've put some tracing paper in your kits, and we're not going to use them today for these two designs, but I'm going to show you how you can use them so that when we finish this tonight, you can then go ahead and continue and do something else that's a little bit more intricate, and I'll show you how to do that. So for your flowers, we're going to do 3 flowers. And what I'd like you to do is at the top in the middle, around here, we're going to draw an oval, okay? For the people that are scared of drawing, just follow the instructions and it'll all be fine. And the great thing about this is it looks handmade. It's a really, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's a really lovely craft that looks handmade. Some bits print, some bits don't. That's the beauty of lino printing. Look at the bits that have missed. It just gives it a bit of extra texture. The bits that we've carved, the bits that you haven't carved, it gives it a lovely amount of texture. Okay, so don't panic about your drawing. Okay, what we're going to do is draw an oval near the top, maybe 3/4 of to the top, maybe a little bit more. We're going to draw an oval. Okay, you can all draw an oval, even you people that say I can't draw a stick man, which is my pet hate, because I think you can. So I don't know if you can you see that on the, I don't know if you can see that here. Right, an oval. We're then going to draw, so this is the daisy that is coming down here. So what we're going to do then is we're going to draw some quite big teardrops coming down from the daisy's head, the head. You can all draw a teardrop just like that. Okay, and we're going to do a few more of them going round. And when they go over to the side, they can get a little bit smaller. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't panic. They're coming off the main body. You see that? They're coming off the main body of the daisy. Okay. As they come over the top, they're getting a bit smaller. Okay, because we're drawing, kind of drawing perspective. Okay, and then at the top, we're doing some smaller daisies, smaller teardrops. Okay, so can you see that? And I'd like you all to do this. I do have a Sharpie. That might be a good idea, actually, Sarah, because you guys don't need one. It's just so that you can see what I'm drawing. Great idea. I wasn't going to stand up so you could see that I'm wearing shorts. But here we are. It's gone back to those, you know, the Zoom days when everyone was working from home. That's not a very good Sharpie. Right. So I'm just going to use the Sharpie just so you can see it, but you don't need to be using a Sharpie. You can be using a pencil. So can you see that better? Yes. I hope that you can all see that. Okay. Everybody okay? Right, after that, we're going to do 2 smaller circles down here. We're going to do 2 smaller daisies. Just a small circle there and maybe a small circle there. Okay, and then we're going to do just some more teardrops, but we're looking at the flat face of the daisy this time. So we're just going to do some teardrops. We can all draw a flower, even if they look like Mr. Men flowers. We don't mind that. It's okay. Okay. Same again with the other one. If you want to do it so that they come off the page a little bit, use your artistic creativity. Okay, are we all good? It doesn't matter, Sophie. You can draw on either side. I'm drawing on the shinier side, but it doesn't make much difference in terms of printing. Okay. After that, so the great thing is we can draw over the lines of whatever we're doing because we're going to carve it out. So whatever we draw now, you're not going to see. It's just guidelines for us for our cutting. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 wiggly, not wiggly lines, but really long, like a really long kind of S shape to go from the middle of the daisy kind of down like that. Can you do just a very long S shape or a backwards S shape from all of them? Or just or a straight line, whatever you want to do. In the negative space, we're just going to do 1 line up through the middle of where the negative space is. So up through like that. And maybe another one there, just to fill in the gaps. And I'll show you a little technique of doing some little leaves is the word I was looking for. Right. So now we've drawn that out. Are we all good with our drawing? We are now going to get our cutting tools. So in this, if you unscrew this, there's magic inside. This is a multi-functional tool. So this is what we're going to use to do our printing, but also what we're going to use to do our cutting. These are great kits. I wasn't going to go for a kit. I was going to buy everything separately, but they're such good kits. I literally couldn't not because they've got everything we need. So you have 3 blades. These are blades. And I need you all to promise me you are not going to cut yourselves. I will tell you how you cannot cut yourself, but you need to promise me you're not going to cut yourself because I've done it and it's horrible because they're really, really sharp. So in this kit, we have a long, there's a flat edge one. I'm not going to use that one for the minute. Can you see that one? You've got 2 V-shape cutters. And what we're going to use at the beginning is the smaller of, if you look at the end, oh, I don't know how to do this. If you look at the end, there's a small V, okay? And what we're going to do is use the smaller of the V shapes today. So you get your handle. You first get this little silver bit and screw it on, but not so it's tight. Okay. Then you get your blade and there's a little shape in there and you just stick it in. Can you see that? So you've screwed that on a little bit, stick that in, and then you tighten. So this blade is nice and secure now. I'm just going to keep going and continue the workshop. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me on here or on here. Okay. We are always going to cut away from our other hand. You need to promise me this because they are so sharp, these blades. They are designed to cut through lino, obviously. So we need to be really, really careful with these because you're using quite a lot of pressure, and you don't need to use a lot of pressure. But if you are using a lot of pressure and you slip, you will stab yourself. in the hand, and it's not fun. It is really not fun, I can tell you that. So I've taken the pain, so you don't have to. We are going to we are going to cut away from ourselves at all times. We're not holding this like a pen or a pencil. We are holding it like this, okay? You hold it in your hand, up against the palm of your hand, and we're going to be using, you can use your finger to stick it in that little nub there to give it a little bit more control. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the stalks first. We are not gouging, we are gliding. It doesn't have to go that far in. We are just gliding across the surface, and you can do as many passes as you want. So we're not trying to just gouge out a whole thing in one go. Okay, the first cut is quite good to get the shape, but you don't need to gouge too deep, okay? Right, so what we're going to do is keep this hand back. This hand is always behind your blade. And what I would say is you can move a little bit with this hand, but we're moving the lino around. We're not kind of curling right round and then coming back towards us. That is a recipe for disaster. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep if we're right-handed, we're going to keep our left hand safe. Okay, keep it behind the blade. I cannot stress enough. I do not want anyone injuring themselves. Thank you very much. Right, so we are going to start, and we are going to, so the blade is upside down. It looks like it's upside down. The V is like the right way up for a V, if you know what I mean. You see that? So you've got your finger in this little nook here. Sits very comfortably. You're holding the blade like this, and we're keeping our hands behind, and we're just going to slide the blade up and just take off a little bit of the stalk. We're going for the stalk first, okay? So you may need to go through again if you want it to be a bit deeper. Trace the line. My stalk goes then behind the first petal, the middle petal. So I'm going to stop there. It doesn't really matter if you go through the petal, because you can just carve the petal slightly deeper than the stalk. So we're going to just create a little crevice. And don't forget, so everything that we're carving out now is going to be white, and the background is going to be black. So I've done one bit of the stalk. I'm now going to do this stalk, and I'm actually going to take this one nearly off the page. What you can do is kind of practice going, keeping it at a nice level, push forward slightly, and then you can kind of change the angle to make it go slightly deeper or slightly shallower, and then you can bring it back up and it will go in and out, but we're not gouging, we're gliding. Okay, you will start to get lots of this kind of lino debris, and it will go everywhere, but it's fine because it's satisfying. Right, so I'm going to do the other stalk. I hope everybody's okay. If you're not okay, let me know, and I will try and help as much as I can. So once we've done our stalks, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut out the shape of the petals. I would start with the pointy side of the petals, and we're going to go round the outside to one side, and then we're going to start at the pointy end again and go round the outside to meet the other one. When we've done that, you can start cutting out the middle of the petal because at the moment that's just going to be a solid piece. So carry on, and we're just cutting out little almost like rivets. But don't forget, so when we roll our lino ink onto this, there will be varying kind of peaks and troughs of what you've carved. So, but it gives a really lovely effect. But it does mean you do have to have a little think about the direction of what you're carving your negative space, like what direction you're carving them in. So when it comes to the sunshine, you can see that with this, I've carved it all in that direction so that if any of it comes through, it actually looks really good because you've got it all going in the same direction. So it's the same with the petals. If you've got any of the noise or the chatter, they call it, you get a little bit of the chatter, but it's all running in the same direction. So it gives you a little bit of texture on those petals. So if you want to, you can do this however you want. You can carve around all of your petals and then carve them all out, or you can carve around the outside and then carve each one. A little tip though, if you're doing it on the shiny side, it's quite handy to look down the edge of your, this was easier in the sunshine a couple of days ago. If you look down the edge of your lino, you can see the shine on the shiny side, and on the bits that you've carved, you can see whether they are still shiny and if you've got the flat top. So you will just need to take it down a little bit. It's hard to say a measurement, but you kind of want to take it down. And actually, it doesn't even matter if you go all the way through. I mean, ideally you wouldn't, but you don't need to go all the way through. Just try and make sure that you've got the majority of the shape cut out. So continue all around your petals, making sure it's really tempting every now and again to cut towards your hand. Please, please do not cut towards your hand. If you're finding that it's taken ages to carve, with the smaller V, maybe just do all the outlines and you can swap to the bigger V. So maybe should we do that? Or just do the outline of all the petals with the smaller V. And then we'll transfer over to the bigger V. I hope everybody can see. I can't believe that TikTok didn't let me go online again. They didn't let me go online when I first started this channel. And then they let me. And now they're not letting me again. It's so annoying. But I hope you've all had a lovely day. Have you all enjoyed the sunshine? Glorious, hasn't it? What lovely weather we've had recently. I mean, I'm very grateful. I love a bit of sunshine. Doesn't it change like everything? It feels like it changes the mood. I'm not really exactly a sun worshipper, but I think I've definitely noticed the increase of vitamin D in my body. Yeah, let's see if So we're going around all the petals. You can also do an outline around the body of the daisy, but don't carve out the middle bit for the minute. So I would just carve out the outside of the petals for the minute. Don't forget, turn the lino, not the cutting tool. If you cut yourself, you have to let me know, so I can give you a big telling off. Not really, obviously. But please just don't cut yourselves. I've warned you. So this is just our practice run. So don't worry about doing it too neatly, because you want to just see how deep each of these cuts needs to be. But also, if you do this and there's extra bits that you think, oh, I wish that looked a bit better, or I wish I did that little bit a bit deeper, you can continue, you can go back and cut your lino again after you've used it to print. So don't worry too much about getting it perfect the first time, because you can go back. Right, I've done all around this first daisy. I'm just going to quickly show you another technique for the, oh, hang on, no. I'm going to go around the head of the daisy, around the big oval at the top. Starts to look a little bit messy because I've smudged the Sharpie a bit, but can you see that I'm starting to get some layers in here. So a little technique that we're going to use for the middle of the daisy, this is to make little holes, little circles. They're not perfect circles because this is a V-shape tool. So what we're going to do is push our tool into the center of the daisy to give it a little gouge, and then what we do is we hold it down. We're not pushing forward, we're holding it down. We turn the lino all the way around, and it just carves out a little, it is almost like a V, but it's like a little hole. It gives you a bit of texture. So push down, turn the lino, and it cuts out a little hole. Okay, push down, turn the lino, gives us a nice little circle. So if you do that a few times in the, I don't know if you can see those. Can you see them? So that will give us a bit of texture on the head of the flower. Just do a few of them dotted around. And you shouldn't slip with this one because you are pushing down and not pushing out. Twisting around. How is everybody getting on? I hope you're enjoying yourself. It's definitely the kind of thing that you can just kind of like switch off and just keep carving. So you've learned a couple of techniques already. You can do the little circles and the carving technique. Sometimes you need to spin it round a couple of times to really get that whole circle. Because it's plasticky, it does sometimes like almost stretch. Right. So that's all the holes done for the middle of the head. I'm going to outline these other daisies as well, and then I may swap over to the bigger. Gemma. Gemma needs better light, so she's going to grab her Curious Octopus lamp that we made last month. Love it. Thanks for the plug, Gemma. Yeah, you probably do need quite good light to do this. So there's a. And just remember, at the end of each one, if you just bend the angle, not bend, but change the angle, it's very easy to have those little snakes kind of sticking out of here. But when you get to the end of where you're carving, if you kind of bend your wrist back up, it will glide back out the lino, so it doesn't leave those bits still attached. Going around the outside of the daisy. Hope everybody's doing okay. I always get into a little zone in my head when I'm doing this, and then I forget to talk to you guys. I almost forget that you're there. I just feel like I need some music or something. Is everybody okay? I don't know if I can see. I don't know what I'm doing. Right, we're going around the petals of the other daisy. I don't know how far you guys have got, but I'm going to just keep going. And don't forget, this live is available straight away after we finished on YouTube on my live section. So it's great. It just puts it on there straight away. So I'm hoping. Oh, the last video was wonderful, wasn't it? The 4 minutes of panic and stress at not being able to get online properly. Oh, I set this up about 2 hours ago. Thought I was really prepared. But, you know, that's life, isn't it? We are real human beings, and things sometimes don't go our way. Right, once I've done this, I'm going to swap over to the other blade. And I'm going to, because I don't want to run out of time to do the other design, because I think it's going to be really lovely. I'm excited about it. And we're already nearly an hour in. So once we've done the outline of the flowers, I just need to do the circle of the flowers. I don't want to rush you at all, though. I think these ones I may. No, that's fine. I'll probably leave them as the circle. And please don't forget, you can use your own creative talent if you want to get a bit more creative with this. Right, I'm going to change my blade. I'm going to use the bigger V. So just unscrew this, pull the blade out, the bigger blade into the slot, and then tighten it again. I'm just going to quickly show you how to do some very quick, very simple leaves for our extra bit of stem here. Okay, so what we're going to do is use the angle of our blade, and we're going to go in and out quite quickly. And the shape of the V is going to make some lovely little leaves. So from the stem, we're going to go down. So you'll find there's a lot more resistance in this one because it's a bigger blade. Sometimes if you go, so here, I've gone in a little bit too deep and it's still attached on the side. It's fine, you can just pull it off. But you want to get the balance right. So just above the stem, it doesn't have to be touching the stem. You can just do a little cut in and then out. And it gives you that little teardrop shape. Can you see? So I'm going to do a few more leaf shapes. I mean, these aren't really like daisy leaf shapes, but you know, creative license. So it's a lot to do with getting the hang of the angle. And I'm going to do some more on the bottom. They almost look a bit like, you know, wheat, what's it called? Sheaves. Okay, we've got a few that way. So can you see that? Gives you a bit of a texture of the leaves. I'm going to do a few on the other side, making sure I keep my hand away. I'm just changing the angle of my right wrist if you're right-handed. To go in and out. It's a bit of a technique, but I believe in you. You can do it. Okay. Now I'm going to carve out the edges, the inside of all of the daisy petals with this. So we just take a little bit. We don't need to go too deep with this tool because it takes out a bit more than the smaller V. So you'll get the hang of it, but make sure that you don't slip. Most of the time, if you slip, you're going to slip when you change your blade because you've got used to the pressure of one and then you go to the other, to the pressure of another. So you can be carving out all of the petals. And you can do it a lot quicker with the slightly wider V. But again, make sure you're still putting them in the same direction so that they'll look, if the ink does pick up on any of this, if you always start from that point and head towards the other end, you're going to get a lovely shape and it will look like the texture of a petal. Use these things to your advantage. If you need to go around the outside at all. So I'm going to go over the one that I went over originally because there's just too many cuts. You only need to do about 3 or 4 cuts with this slightly bigger V. Oh, and it's really coming together. Went a bit deep with that one. So you really don't need to go that deep. Use the tool, let the tool do the gliding. We are getting there. I hope I'm not going too fast for you all, but I really want to get through it so that you've got the design, you've got the knowledge, and you've got the design ready for your second one. Even if you don't finish the second one, I just really want to show you the technique. So I try and keep these tutorials to about 2 hours. Sometimes we go over a little bit longer, but it's up to you whether you stay for, well, you can stay for as long as you want. Cut out those lovely petals. I don't think I can see the comments in TikTok. So if you are watching in TikTok, please send me some comments. Let me know that you're watching. Starting to make a bit of mess. Right, I've just got a couple more petals to do on this bigger daisy. And I'm very much looking forward to teaching you how to do the seascape, because that one was really, really satisfying to carve as well. Probably more satisfying. I've done this one as a little tester, but this one is actually probably technically harder to do. So sorry about that. But you know, you're basically learning pool on a snooker table. Right, that's the top daisy down. I'm going to quickly carve these smaller daisy petals. It shouldn't take too long. And then we can get on with some printing. I'm not going to do the little circles in the smaller daisies. I'm just going to, did you see that I slipped a bit then? So if my finger was there, that would have gone in. It's very, very easy to slip when you're doing this, especially when you're using the bigger tools. So just to please, just threw those all over myself. Please keep your hands behind the blade. Always cut away from yourself. Oh, cat's here. She's going to cause carnage. She's probably going to climb all over the camera. Thanks. Sit down, please. Wait, get off. Get my water. Wait, stop drinking my water. Little bum. couldn't find the lid for my water. Now it's ruined by cat. Is anyone? I don't know if anyone's watching on TikTok. Ooh. Whoops. I nearly just reported my own video then. That was good. Clever. Oh, there we go. Slipped again. So easy to do. So easy to do. Anyone I've spoken to that's done lino printing are like, yeah, just mind your fingers. So you do just really need to be super careful. That means. Oh, you don't know. I love how Instagram was working and now it's not. So that's good. Probably should have just left it as it was. And we're carving and we're carving. I am nearly finished my, slipped again. Nearly finished my daisies. How are you all doing? Anywhere near finishing? I've got 2 more petals to do. Got a feeling it might be my children. Okay, right. I have finished the first. I know. Right. We can use some of our tracing paper to put some ink on. Just finishing the big daisy, but if practice, then happy to move on. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. If you've just finished the big one, that's absolutely fine. If you want to wait and just watch this bit and then do a bit more later, that's absolutely fine as well. But also, like I said, don't forget, you could have a go at this bit and you can wash these off. You can literally just hold that under the tap and it will be a little bit stained with ink, but the ink will come off and then you can continue to carve it and then you can do the whole printing again. So wherever you are, maybe let's have a little go, because also you can get more paper to, I've given you 3 pieces of paper. So we're going to do this one. We're going to do our sunset, and then you'll have some extra to have another go. And you can do it on any paper that you want. So you can buy different color paper, you can use printer paper, whatever you want to use. Right. What we're going to do is get a little bit of our lino ink, and I'll give you a little tip with this. You put a little bit of a blob on your, That's gone a little bit. Probably needed a bit of a shake. Give your ink a shake first. Right, we'll do it down here first. So we're going to do a little bit of a blob. Get your roller and only roll up about, so the width of your roller, let me put this so you can see it. Maybe some of these bits. Just roll up and down the width of your roller, because this is how you can save a bit of ink. Ooh, you have to hold it flat. Roll up and down, and then you turn it side to side. This is probably not the easiest. Yeah, maybe don't use the tracing paper. Right, just make sure you've got enough ink on your roller that the whole thing is covered. Yeah, tracing paper is not a good idea. Do you know what? I was using the box earlier and that was much better, but you can wipe it off if you want to. Anyway, I'm just going to roll away from myself for now. Right, we're going to roll this onto the base of the lino. So as you can see, it only touches the bits that we've not carved out. So you can already see what it's going to start to look like. So make sure, so we see we've got a few little bits where there's tiny bits of where the lino, where the ink touches, but that's fine. I really like this. I love that you can see that it's handmade. A little bit of something on there. Try not to get any on your hands because you're going to need to touch the paper in a minute. Okay, so make sure that all over this is inked up. I've now got it on here, so we don't want it to be on there. I'm going to take it off here and put it on the paper on the table. You might be better off having a cutting mat or something. But again, little bits of ink, it shows that it's handmade, I think. Right, we're going to get some of our nice paper. And when we stick this on, it is quite sticky. So that works to our advantage, but you only want it to touch down once. You don't want to lift it up and move it. So you kind of have to eyeball it a little bit. We want it to be roughly in the middle of our paper, middle to the top. Looks quite nice. So if you keep it straight to your table, you hold your paper, and once you think that it's in the right place, we're pushing it down. And that is where it's going to be, whether it's straight or not. Right, we can push down with our hands first, just to get the outline of the image. Then we're going to take our blade out of our cutting tool, take the silver bit off the end. Wow, just put that in my ink. Put the purple bit back on. So we've got this base bit, put the purple bit back on, and you've got this handle. And we're going to screw that back in there like it was when we first opened this box. Okay, and you can use this to push down. You can use the flat bit, but what I like to do, you can also use a spoon to do this. So if you imagine there's a curved edge, and you can use that bit to really push into the crevices, not too much because you don't want, well, where the ink is hit, basically we want to then be transferred to the paper. So including all the little details. So we're pushing down slightly with the edge of one of the sides. Make sure you get right to the corners. You'll be able to feel where the where the lino is. Push all the way around. You can use your fingers, you can use this, you can use a spoon if you want. So then once we've done this, we can have a little test, like a little peek to see, because as long as it's still stuck, you can kind of peel it back. That's looking pretty good. And it's going to be stuck in the right place because and that's looking pretty good. So I reckon I'm pretty happy with that. Just going to give it one more for luck. And then, are we ready? I'm going to peel it off. And there we have our lino printing. What do you think? How cute is that? Right. So I think we need to move on to our next design. And what we're going to do is a sunset. If you need to go and wash your hands, might be a good idea. Might be a good idea to get a cloth actually and give it so that you can always wipe off any excess. I'm not going to use that tracing paper next time because it didn't really go very well, did it? Right, one sec. Let me just get a cloth. I'm also going to show you. So these are my prints that I did earlier. And this is what they look like once they've been washed off. So they still look a little bit darker. Oh, where is the camera? But you can continue carving on this and you can just keep adding to it. So I'm going to rub this off here because I'm going to use this. This is cutting lino as well, but this is kind of more advanced cutting lino. We're not going to cut with this right now, but I have put one in your kit because I thought if anybody really loves to do this, this is all more of an advanced kind of skill. So leave that there. Right, if you get your other piece, one of your other pieces of lino that's about this size, and again, I'm going to use the shiny side rather than the textured side. If you are all ready, we're going to do some drawing again. I'm going to do it with, again, I'll do it with a Sharpie so that you can see what I'm doing. Where's my Sharpie? I've lost it. Is that the good one or is that not so good? Oh, that's the good one. So what we're going to do, I've used this as my circle. So what we're going to do is see if we can, I'm going to draw it out actually with a pencil first so that you can, so that I can see what I'm doing, and then I'll draw it out with a Sharpie. So we're going to put this in the middle of our lino. If you're not quite sure, you can always use your pencil to guide you. See if it's roughly in the middle. It doesn't really matter how far in the middle it is in terms of being up or down, but just try and make sure it's in the middle. Right, then we're going to draw around it. We're going to draw a circle for our sunshine. Okay. We're going to take this board and we're going to draw a line across the middle. Again, it doesn't have to be exactly across the middle. Just has to be, you can use that, or actually what I was using before is the Curious Octopus business card. Okay, so draw a straight line across the middle of the sun. Okay, you probably can't see that. I'm going to draw around it in Sharpie. Okay, I'm do my horizon line all the way across. That's not very straight, but it doesn't really matter. It's handmade. Right. Then what I'm going to do is find the midpoint of the sun. Make a little mark where the midpoint is of the sun, roughly. And we are going to make many small, if we start from the right-hand side, we're going to make sure the line touches that middle point, and we're going to do double lines all the way around. Okay, if you don't know what I mean, I'm going to show you now. So from the middle point, this is on the middle point, and from the outside of the sunshine, I'm going to do one line, keep that on the middle point, and do another line. And then I'm going to smudge it. Then from there, I'm going to leave a little bit of a space. And I'm going to go from the midpoint again, draw a line, and then do another line. So you've got some, do you see what I mean? We're adding our little sun rays, but we want bigger spaces and smaller spaces, always from that midpoint. Okay. Yeah, it's not as neat with a Sharpie. Good idea, so you guys can see. Not so good for my thing, but it's fine because none of this is going to show on the lino. So can you see that I'm doing two smaller? I'm doing a little space and then a bigger space. Always starting from that point. I'm thinking of setting up a Facebook group, like a closed Facebook group. So anybody that's bought a box or would like to get involved can join the closed group, and then everyone can be posting their makes, what you've made. You get a bit of a community. I still don't know if anyone on TikTok is saying anything, so I'm really sorry if I'm ignoring you, TikTok, people on TikTok. But I don't think I can see your comments. Right. We're nearly finished these lines. Right. So this is pretty much our design. It wasn't that difficult. It looked difficult, but it wasn't, if you know what I mean. So we are thinking about the negative space, the bits we want to be white and the bits we want to be dark. What we need to do is have the differentiation between the sky and the sea. So the sky we're going to make quite light. As you can see from where is the... So we're going to carve out the whole of the sun. So we're going to do a little X in the sun so that we know that's what we're carving out. And then the bigger gaps in between, we're going to put little X's in all the bigger gaps, and we're going to leave the smaller lines just to create that sense of sun rays. Okay, so we're going to do a little X. or a squiggle or whatever you want to do in all of the bigger spaces. Right? Now for the bottom, we're going to use that same effect that we did with our leaves, but we're going to make it the lines wiggly. So we're going to do the same, keep it shallow, go in deep, but we're also going to add a little wiggle at the same time. We can get to that in a bit though. Should we do that bit later? And the same with these wiggly lines on the sun, on the sea. So shall we carve out the sunshine first? I'm going to get my tool again. I'm going to use the smaller, actually no, I'm going to use the bigger blade to carve out the sunshine. We'll use the smaller ones, the smaller V-shaped blade for the sun rays, because I like the idea. I like that you've got a little bit of the rays still coming through. Okay, so I've got the bigger blade. I'll put that aside. And again, imagine that if you do accidentally leave bits that are slightly bigger, we want the shape of the sun to be looking like the shape of a sun. So we don't want to be doing diagonal lines across like this, because that's not what the sun would look like. What we want to be doing is making lines that go round as if, you know, you've almost drawn spirals in the sunshine. So you can do a line straight across the middle. If it starts to get hard to push through, lift it up a bit. And then I'm going to go all the way up and round. Keeping your hands behind the blade and turning the lino at all times. And then we're going round again. Carve out that sunshine. It is okay if we go quite deep on the sunshine. We might, you know, if you want some of the sun to have some texture in it, that's totally up to you. But I think I'm going to try and get it so that it doesn't have any. You can't see anything and it's just pure white. So keep your carving going. I went a bit too deep. I'm gonna have to sort out this live thing. What a pain. I wonder if it's because last month I didn't. So TikTok have got this silly thing where you have to have 1,000 followers to go live, but for some reason they let me. So I assumed that they would always let me, but never mind. A bit too deep. If you do go a bit too deep and it gets a bit stuck, you can always pull back, slipped. My hand wasn't in the way. You can always pull it back and go back in, and then try and lift it so that it comes out the other side, not so it slips. It's dangerous. go from the other side now. I reckon I've nearly gone all the way through that. But it's so nice. It's a fun thing to do, isn't it? It's quite, I feel like you just get into it, get your head into it. It's quite a satisfying craft. Oh, yeah. Oh dear. Hope everybody's okay. Been quite quiet on the chat this month. I think it's normally TikTok that's got all the chatter, isn't it? So I've got a feeling that I can't actually see the TikTok chat. So I'm really sorry. Let me say something there. I'm on my other account. No. I actually can't see the can't see the chat. Oh, now I can't get rid of that. Brilliant. Oh, wonderful. So hello to everybody on TikTok. If you can hear me, I can't see your comments. I'm very sorry. Don't know if I'll be able to see them after, but I can't see them now. Let's see if I can see them on here. Trying to make me sign in. That is not for now. Right, so I have done the sun. There might be some bits that are a little bit too high still, so we're just going to take off the peaks of any bits that are a bit too high. So don't, you know, the sun is going to be the brightest bit of this whole piece. So we want it to be, we kind of don't want any texture on the sun. All right, now I'm going to swap over to my smaller V. And where is it? No. I'm going to get on with some of the rays. So for the rays, like I said, we are going to be cutting into the bigger chunks. And from the sun, I'm just going to be going down, down, in and up. See, it does take a bit of getting used to get used to the different blade. It absolutely has a different pressure. So what I'm going to do is just keep going over. I'm going to try and carve out the whole thing, but if there are bits left, I don't mind that because it's going to give us that lovely texture of the sun rays. And I'm going to make sure those little sections are left so they don't have any carving out of them. They're only going to be little and thin, but they're going to really kind of show the shape of those sunbeams. So really try and make sure these lines are straight. especially the two lines that go up against those thinner sections. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes if you want to take a little bit more time on the drawing, you could use a Sharpie and you can actually colour in. Like if I was going to, let me give you an example. So if I was going to colour in the bit that I want to carve out, then when you carve it, you can actually, it's a lot easier to see the bits that you still need to, it needs to dry. It's a bit easier to see the bits that you need to carve out. You see, so I try and make sure that I always do the two outer lines first. There we go. And then I can carve lines. So can you see that I go in and out to give that lovely shape? Of the rays. You do find that your blade sometimes just kind of sits in the space that you've already cut. But sometimes to avoid that, you can go a bit gentler. And you can kind of control where the cut goes in and out. So that's a little bit of a tip for if you have a bit more time and you want to color in the bits that you want to carve, and then you can kind of see. So can you see that? You're going to see where the ink is going to sit a little bit better. So the two outside lines, make them as straight as possible. Hold your lino still behind your blade. I find this is really, really satisfying, this bit. Doing the rays. Because it's really nice to just do the straight lines. And you can come back out just before the edge of the paper lino. What do you use the wide shape blade for? So the wide one is very good for cutting out big spaces. So you can have a little go at it with the sunshine if you want. But again, please be super, super careful because there's a bigger space. There's a lot more tension and a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not tension, like friction. So again, you can slip a bit more. But again, you can use it to just, you can do your line work. It's basically, it's called a U-shaped blade, this one. So if you don't want such a deep, more jagged edge, it is a bit of a rounder shape, but they're generally used to cut out bigger spaces. So they're quite good. That would be quite good for the sunshine as well, if you want to use that one. We could use this one actually for the waves in a bit if you want to. So it gives a bit of a softer edge. Right, I'm going to continue to do the rays. I'm sorry to everybody on TikTok. I cannot see your comments at all. Okay, we're going for the outer edges. But yeah, with the blades, it really is just a preference thing. If you find there's a blade that you like the tension of a little bit more, you like the control, it really is like a personal preference type thing. But have a go with them. I really like this this craft because there's no kind of tech. Do you know what I mean? There's obviously techniques. There's things that you can do that make the craft easier, but it really is just an open. I don't really know what I'm trying to say. It's just an easy kind of do it your way craft. And you can do it at home. You don't need any special equipment apart from a blade and a bit of lino. So, yeah. It's just the kind of thing that you can just kind of get on with and enjoy in your own time. Oh. If you find that you want to use the bigger V for these sunbeams, you are very welcome. Again, it is personal preference. Whatever you want to do. And when we've done all these sunbeams, we're going to just do a little bit in the sea. And then we'll do our printing. That's the great thing. If you ever wanted to make something that you needed to make lots of, you can make Christmas cards, you could make wedding invitations, you know, like there's so many things you can do if you want to do the same thing. But don't forget, the design that you're doing here will print backwards. So if you wanted to do any wording, you need to take that into consideration. But yeah, it's great for Christmas cards. And what you can do is use, when you get a bit more advanced at it, you can use different colors and you can do the same, almost like the same design. If you use tracing paper, you can do the same design, but you can add different parts of the image in different colors. So I've just given you black ink just because it's a standard, standard print. But you can use whatever ink you want. You can get oil-based inks. You can get inks that are good for fabrics. Some of them you have to iron to kind of cure them and set them. Some of them will just dry. So if you wanted to get into lino printing onto, canvas bags or, those tote bags, T-shirts, You really can use this technique for so many different things. I was tempted to send you all a tote bag, but I thought, let's just do it on paper first. I get very excited. I get a little bit ahead of myself a lot of the time. We're getting there. We are getting there. I was going to do an octopus, and you know what? This is like the perfect size for these. So if you want to go a little bit more advanced, that is what I've sent you the tracing paper for. So what you would do is trace around the shape of the octopus. And again, don't forget it would be a backwards image. So you trace around the image, then you can lay that onto your lino and then draw on the on your pencil markings again backwards. You probably did this in school. You can rub it or you can just draw straight back onto the lines and it will print that image onto your lino and then you can carve it. So that is a way that you can transfer it back to the original shape as well if you want to. So you can go, I think you do have to trace it twice. Just make sure it's backwards to where you want you want it to be. We are nearly there. I don't know how far you guys have got, but have you nearly done your sunshine? Oh, I feel like my shoulders are right up. Are you guys getting tired? It's so satisfying then, isn't it, when you're printing. Okay, this is my last sunbeam. I'm going all the way down to the horizon line. I made sure that there wasn't I probably forgot to say this to you. I made sure there wasn't a beam that joined the horizon. I wanted it to be the carved out bit. Right. Once you've done that, I'm going to transfer to should we use the U-shape one? Again, like I said, it's personal preference. So we're going to do the U-shape one for the waves. As you can see in here, this is why I've drawn the whole of the circle, because what we're going to do is create the impression of a reflection. So all of these show just a little bit of you know, some of the sunlight kind of hitting the top of the waves. What we're going to do here is just do some bigger ones within that shape, because it's just going to give you a little bit of a reflection. So the technique we were using before, I'm working with this line. We're going to go down and in. So bend our wrist up into the lino and then down again. Let me move this down a little bit. That'll probably be helpful, wouldn't it? So we're kind of going down into it like that and then up again. So we're going to start from the edge, go down, a bit of a wiggle and come up, so that we're creating those little ripples and up. If you prefer to use the bigger V, you are very welcome to. That gives a similar effect. I think it may give you a little bit of a wider cut than this one, but it's completely up to you. And I'm going to try and come up. So I'm making these wiggly lines almost like not interlink, but I'm kind of doing them as close as I can. Little elongated S shapes. All within that circle, but not, you don't want to be going around the edge. They still need to be going across. So wiggly lines across within that circle. Okay. That's where the light would hit. So we're going to carve out quite a few lines in that bit. Try not to touch the edge of the horizon. You can go kind of close to it. Try and make sure you leave a little bit of a gap. And then for the rest of the sea, we're just going to do the same thing again, but just a little bit further apart. And also, again, we're going for this perspective. As you look at the horizon, the lines between, the space between these lines is going to be further away as this is closer to you, and then slightly like bunched up the top. So do you see there's a smaller gap there than there is there? So we're going to do a few of these waves at the bottom, just to show that the light is just catching the top of these waves. Okay. So they don't have to be very deep at all. They can just be very, very shallow. Not much pressure at all. And then as we get higher up, we're going to make them just be a little bit closer together. We are nearly done, you know. Hasn't it gone quick? Okay, so when you are happy with your lino, you can brush off any additional cuttings. Right, this time I am going to use the box to roll my lino ink on because that tracing paper was rubbish, wasn't it? It moved around. And this is what I used earlier. And you can, if you want to keep your box, you can still just wipe it off. So if you just flatten your box. That way so you can see it. Give your ink a shake. Just a blob. You don't want too much because if it blobs too much, it's going to really stick in all the crevices and you're not going to get that flat finish. So like I said before, roll it up and down pretty much to the length, the width of your roller, and then roll back and forth. See, that works so much better because I'm actually doing what I practiced. Thought it was being clever using the tracing paper. It didn't work. But you know, we live and learn. Right. Okay, I'm going to roll onto the sun. If you need a bit more ink, you can roll back on your ink pad. So as you can see, I do have some bits in the sun that have caught. So you've got a choice here. Again, it's personal preference. The great thing about this is you can do whatever you want. It's your piece of art. You can take your cloth and wipe those bits off, or you can leave them if you like the texture, if you like the noise. I might actually leave them. I quite like it. It gives it a bit more of a handmade feel. Or you can carve, but it does get a bit messy if you've still got bits of ink. So I'm going to take that off. I'm going to take my next piece of paper, try and make sure that you've got, use your cloth to wipe your hands off if you have any ink on your hands. Okay, I'm getting a new piece of paper. Again, you need to kind of eyeball it to make sure that it's roughly in the right direction. Helps if it's in line with the edge of your table. It doesn't look like it there because obviously I've got the camera at a funny angle. But I'm going to press down, get it roughly in the right place, push it down in one go. Don't smear it around. It doesn't help. Again, I'm so sorry, TikTok people. If you're watching on TikTok, I can't see your comments. So if you do comment, can I comment after? Can I reply after? I don't know. Right, we need to put our tool back together. So put the lid, you've got the black bit in the bottom, the purple bit, and then screw on the handle. And we're pushing down in all the areas, using slightly the edge, not right into there. You don't want to be like shoving the corner in, but put it flat and then almost like lean it over slightly to the side. You know what the image looks like, so you can be pushing up towards the sun rays, push towards the edge of the sunshine, but I wouldn't push too hard on the middle of the sun because if there is any ink there, you don't really want it to push through. You shouldn't get all around the edges. Okay, are we ready for the reveal? I think we are. Let's go. And here we are. Look at that. We did it. Doesn't that look great? Love it. How are you guys doing? I actually quite like that noise in the middle of there. It's quite cute. And the great thing is that every single one is going to be slightly different because it's hand printed. Right, let me just give you a quick tutorial on what I meant about the tracing. So if you want to be tracing a design to be able to do your lino cutting, like I said, you've got one more piece of lino here, and you've also got your advanced piece. Let me warn you again, it's really easy to slip with that stuff. It is more professional, and you will get probably a better, cleaner design. However, it will be a different feel. So just go super careful. Don't push too much pressure in. Go gentle, okay? Right, what I'm going to do now is give you a quick tutorial on what to do if you are tracing. So get your tracing paper, whatever shape you want to do. I can do a very quick, I mean, the octopus is quite detailed, isn't it? But you put your tracing paper over it. Maybe I'll just do a little bit. I'll just do the outline of it. I'm not going to do each leg, maybe, shall I? So you just draw around your outline with your pencil. I'm not even doing a very good job here, but I actually think it's easier to do all of the legs. I'm just going to do all the legs quickly. So we're just tracing around the shape. If any of you fancy a challenge, I would love to see your finished Curious Octopuses. Her name is Una, incidentally. For any of you whose kids have seen Descendants, my kids were very excited about that. It wasn't really supposed to be because of that Una. But that is another Una the octopus. I may get sued by Disney. I hope I don't. She's a very different Una the octopus, isn't she, to Una from Descendants? So I'm doing a very rough all of that? Yeah, I think so. Right. So here I have my octopus that I've traced. So it is quite an intricate design, but it gives you the idea that you don't have to be able to draw something intricate to be able to do this. You can trace whatever shape you like that octopus, which is quite easy to trace. Then, if you don't mind it being backwards, you then just turn that over, place it where you want it to go, and draw over it. If you want it to be the right way around, actually, oh no, hang on. This is going to be the right way around. Silly me. Because that's the backwards image. Right, ignore me. This is going to be the right way around because we've used tracing paper. So you then just draw again over the shape. Make sure it stays in the same place. But the pressure of your pencil, as long as you draw over the pencil marks that you've drawn, kind of have to remember a little bit where you've gone, because it is quite hard to remember when you're doing pencil over pencil. You could, if you were clever, use 2 different color pencils. Maybe do one for the tracing. No, maybe a normal pencil for the tracing and then a red or whatever for, well, you can kind of see. So anyway, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I'll just show you that when you do that, look, it's completely drawn on. And you can kind of change the design and draw it a bit neater, but there it is. It is on there well enough for you to see. Oh, sorry. Well enough for you to be able to see. And what I would do with this is use your smaller V tool, carve out all the detail all around here, and then you can do whatever you want on the C. You can carve out the whole thing, make it all negative space. If you'd like the C to be light, obviously, and the octopus to be dark, you can carve whichever way you want to do it. So there you go. I'd really, really love to see your designs. Please send me some images of your finished lino prints. I hope you've enjoyed the workshop this evening. Oh, look at the time. We actually finished quite on time. I'm very aware that you may not have finished, but that is the beauty of this, is that you can continue in your own time. You can take as long as you want on it. All of this, like your lino roller, can now just be run under the tap and it will clean off really easily. The same with, if you've used your box, you can just use a cloth, wipe it off, and then still use your box. Might make a bit of a mess at first, but it will wipe off. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. I hope you've had a really lovely time. Please go over to curiousoctopus.art if you haven't already. If you have got a box, you're probably on the mailing list. If you're not on the mailing list, please pop over to Curious Octopus, so www.curiousoctopus.art, and join the mailing list. You can keep in touch, and I can let you know what we're doing every month. Next month, we are learning glass painting. So we're going to be doing some lovely glass painting, something potentially that you could put up in the window, and the lovely colours will shine through on beautiful, glorious days like today. And then again, you'll be able to use your equipment that I send you to decorate bottles, to decorate candle holders, to decorate whatever you want. Okay, so if you would like to buy a box for next month, you can get them at www.curiousoctopus.art. You can subscribe to a monthly box. You can buy an annual box, and you get 2 boxes free if you buy an annual box. Or you can buy a one-off box, or you can gift a box to a friend or loved one. Please send me your finished projects. I really love seeing what you've made. I really do. And if you'd like to be part of the Facebook group, I would love to. I'll set one up, and we can all maybe post our finished finished crafts. So yeah, hope you've had a lovely evening. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm very sorry for all the technical issues. I'm sorry that people can't watch on TikTok. on my account, and I'm really sorry that we can't watch on Instagram. What a pain. Hopefully we'll get those teething problems sorted next month. But thank you very much. I really, really enjoyed it, and I will see you next month. Bye.